Hey everyone, how's it going? Welcome back to another video. The Walking Dead is essentially back, or the Walking Dead universe anyways. Here's my first review of anything Walking Dead related for 2023, which is crazy because it's May 11th. Like, we're almost halfway done this year already, right? And this is the first thing we're watching that's like Walking Dead content related. But the good thing about it though is that it seems like we have content pretty much every week until November, right? So yeah, definitely best to live in it right now. So obviously before we go any further, I do have to warn you that this video will contain spoilers. I will do like a non-spoiler part of my review. I'll make it like a minute or something like that. I'll just give you some general thoughts and then I'll tell you when I'm about to get into the spoilers. But yeah, I just thought I should mention that. And also make sure to be a subscriber if you do want to get all my reviews every single week. We have 6 episodes. The first one aired today. The next 5 episodes will air over the next 5 weeks, obviously, leading up until Dead City's premiere, which is on June 18th, which is a month and a week away. So yeah, very exciting time. We'll have 6 episodes of that, which will basically lead, into Comic-Con, which will get our first Rick and Michonne teaser trailer, I'm assuming anyway. So also, if you haven't yet, definitely go follow me on Twitch. My channel name is Appetite for the Dead. I should be live on there later on today talking about this episode, but let's get into like a non-spoiler review here. So my thoughts going into episode 1 here of season 8 were I want to see how they could reset the story, how they could make it feel like this is the end game, or do something that would honor the characters and try and make something exciting. Because there's only 12 episodes, so you kind of have to set something up right away. You can't push it off until like episode 4 or 5. Like, you got to get into it right away. You got to establish something. And I thought that they actually did a really good job with that. There are certain characters in here, certain things, and we'll talk about that right away, but there are certain choices that the writers have made with some of the characters that I actually think works really, really well. And I think it actually creates a lot more excitement and a lot more intrigue because, obviously, and this is kind of spoilery, but they did do a time jump, right? We've already known that for months now. It is a 7-year time jump. And within those 7 years, a lot of things have changed for a lot of people. So it's very interesting to see the dynamic with all the characters now, specifically with Madison as well. I thought of Madison in a certain way based off of the season 7 finale, but she's actually a little different from that. And just the dynamic of other characters and what their situation is, it's really interesting. I actually really like how they set everything up here. And I thought that none of it was really rushed. I thought they did a really great job overall in terms of pacing and visually. First of all, the show just looks great. Like, this show has never looked better. So yeah, in terms of a non-spoiler review, I think that, for premieres, as far as premieres go anyways on Fear the Walking Dead, I would say that this one is definitely up there. I'm looking back at the past however many premieres, and I can't really remember a lot of them, and a lot of them weren't the best, but this is definitely in the top half of them, I would say, for sure. Like, it's definitely a really enjoyable episode. Like, it's an episode I enjoyed watching more so than I watched any episode of season 7. Like, I know season 7 was bad and it was horrible, but this episode was a pretty solid episode. But let's actually get into the spoiler talk now, because I do really want to get into some of this stuff here. So, the episode begins with Morgan being brought into Padre and them wanting him to be a recruiter. And this was sort of what I predicted anyways. I figured that the episode would start off like this, the intro would roll, and then we would get a 7-year time jump, text on screen or something like that. But no, we didn't get that actually. Like, as soon as the credits are over, we actually see a shot of Mo. It's one of our first shots, and I like how they did the time jump because just labeling it 7 years later, it puts you in a certain headspace where you're like, oh, okay, so it is 7 years later. And then you're analyzing all the changes immediately. And so some of the stuff that we're seeing won't really make too much sense. And I think in your head, you have way too many questions. Like, for the next 10, 20 minutes, you're going to have a billion questions of like, well, what's happening? Like, where's this character? What's happening here? And all of that, right? Whereas just starting it with a shot of Mo and we see her training and stuff, you're wondering, well, like, who's this person? What's happening here? And then you're just sort of following along until you see Mo run into Madison, and then you're like, okay, something happened because we saw them try to escape. I don't know what happened there. And then you hear the words later on that she's been in there for 7 years or something like that. So it's like that I really liked because it really turned it into a really cool reveal. And then for the most part now, we're all just wondering, well, if it's been 7 years, where's Morgan? What happened to everybody? And now you have less questions, and it just creates a lot of intrigue as you're sort of going through the flow of the episode, right? So I like how they handled that overall. We did actually see a lot of Mo being haunted by something in like flashbacks and stuff like that. Like, she was fighting a walker, just training, and she had a hard time putting it down. It seemed like she lacked confidence. There was just something about the situation, and we learn later on that obviously it was, and this is an issue I kind of have with the episode a little bit, is the fact that she remembers fighting the zombie, or she remembers Morgan and then I guess Grace, and just that whole situation there where they're just trying to keep her alive, and that situation was just very scary for her. So she sort of had like this fear of these zombies, or this fear of, I guess, fighting the zombies or something like that. And for me, I just found it very silly because, you know, as of now, she's only like, what, 8 years old or something? 8 years old, around there. I don't know how she would remember something from when she was like a year or two old. Like, it just makes no sense at all. So that part there I found very silly, especially since it didn't really contribute overall to the story. Like, it didn't really do much overall for the story. So that part I kind of found a little ridiculous, unless, you know, maybe Mo was with Morgan and Grace up until she was like 4 or 5, and then she was taken away. So maybe her memories are from then. Then I can see her remembering all of that. Then that makes a lot of sense. But I didn't see them mention anything like that. Like maybe they lived in that boathouse for a couple of years. I don't know. It didn't seem like it though. So I'm just assuming that that's where they stayed for a little bit, because there's a crib. So she was taken away when she was a baby. But we do see Madison in this like oxygenated room, and I thought that was really cool. Definitely very creative. A lot of work though to be put into something to keep Madison alive. Like, they're not doing that for other people, but they're doing that for Madison. I find that a little crazy, a little unbelievable, but I think if they are going to do something where, you know, Madison's importance is, I mean, well, she's just that. She's very important to Padre. Then I think it makes a lot of sense. But as of now, that scene was just a little weird. Just to, you know, why put in all that effort to keep her around for that long? Like, she's just one person. There's a lot of people there. Unless they're really good people, like, that's the thing. Padre could be a place where the people there are actually really good people. Then, I mean, I don't know. Because no villain is going to be doing that, right? Like, if you're a villain, if you're the saviors and stuff, you're not putting that effort into somebody who's easily replaceable or something, right? Like, I could totally see Alexandria doing that for sure, just to help that person out. Like, I could totally see it, because you're just helping somebody survive, which makes me believe maybe Padre is actually a good place, or maybe the people there aren't as evil as we're thinking. Mo is told a backstory about Lark, who Madison actually goes by, and, you know, she's told that she's unstable. She almost tried to kill Padre, and, you know, they're training her to not be like that anymore. So that's why she's locked down there. They're trying to help her. Mo overall doesn't remember her father. She doesn't remember anything. I kind of like that part about it, because, I mean, it makes sense. She's a kid, right? Like, she was taken away when she was a baby. So she's not going to remember Morgan or Grace. And she really doesn't remember anything about her past. She was a part, you know, of the children that were brought there by Madison. And yeah, Madison did help them escape, but they actually took Mo back here. And the reason why is kind of interesting, but we'll get into that right away. Now, we actually get into some action like right away. Madison basically breaks Mo out of Padre super fast. So this place isn't really that like well, you know, secured if you're able to break out that easily. And Madison does. They break out of Padre and they find Morgan pretty much right away. I was going to criticize this part of it. I thought that was just a little too convenient, but it actually makes sense because Morgan found out. Morgan was working with Padre. Morgan knew that Madison and Mo were going to be there. So I actually really like all of that now. And Mo actually learns that Morgan is her father, and she doesn't like him. Like, she just keeps calling herself Ren, which is really interesting. I like the fact that they all sort of have different names, like Madison is Lark, Mo is Ren. They really just sort of lost themselves overall. Like, they just really became different people. And a lot of it is just because they want Mo to survive. Like, that really is why Morgan and Grace are doing what they're doing, is they just want Mo to survive. It's Madison just overall really disagrees with how they're doing it, because, you know, they could go survive somewhere else and be so much more safe, which I will say I do find a little interesting, because Morgan knows of Alexandria. Like, he should know that that's a very safe place to be and to stay. So why don't we bring Mo there, right? Like, it's, yeah, that part there, I found a little interesting that they wouldn't go and do that. But obviously we know the real reason is because we can't really have Morgan go back there because of all the characters and then all the behind the scenes stuff, right? So, but yeah, we do learn that Morgan really wants Mo to stay at Padre. Madison also mentioned in the episode that Nick and Alicia are already dead. I thought that was an interesting mention. It seemed like that was a little bit of a foreshadowing maybe to a possible reunion in the future. Obviously not with Nick, but with Alicia. Strand is missing. Padre found all the other characters. I really like that part of it. They explained that. So a lot of the stuff that we see with Daniel and the other characters, they're actually working with Padre right now. But Strand, that's a big mystery. I'm really wondering if he went out to go and look for Alicia. Like, it's very possible. One of the really cool moments in the episode actually was Morgan writing Jenny and like King County on the walls. So already a teaser for what's to come in the next couple of episodes, right? Or in like episode 4, 5, and 6. So I'm really excited about that. You know, now knowing Morgan's relationship with Mo and with Grace, knowing that Mo went back to Padre, and then in those episodes when he's in King County, Mo is with him. I'm really interested in seeing what's going to happen here. So it seems like Morgan's probably going to go back and break her out, or she decides to leave as well. They end up in King County somehow, and Morgan's going to be facing his past. I mean, writing Jenny on the wall is really crazy. Honestly, I really wonder if we're going to see Jenny in that episode, because maybe Morgan never put her down. I know he said he did. There's a lot of stuff there with that story that it's hard to believe all of it because of Morgan's state of mind at that time when he was telling the story, right? It's hard to say what happened overall with that. Like, he just kept saying, and all I see is red. So it's like he's angry, he's confused, you know, everything is just sort of everywhere. Who knows if he even killed Jenny? Like, he might not have put Dwayne down. Like, there's a whole situation here that honestly we could be in for some crazy epic reveal here. Mo does hear Grace's voice, her mother's voice, on that Walkman. She sort of has this panic attack kind of thing. Morgan tries to stop her. You know, the gun goes off. Walkers start to swarm them. There's this whole action scene that takes place there. Madison almost dies, but Grace saves them. I liked that. That was a cool reveal, because I was wondering the whole time, did Grace die? Because it kind of seemed like she died. I mean, obviously we knew that she didn't, but I was like, what? Like, where is she? And then she comes in to save the day. And yeah, I thought that was really cool. And again, Madison is still very angry at Morgan for not being there for his daughter. And then the episode just sort of ends with Padre just comes and takes Madison and Mo back to Padre. Padre decides to actually retire Morgan as a collector. So I think that could contribute to Morgan, you know, wanting to take Mo out of Padre, because like he can't really keep an eye on her anymore, right? And then we see at the end of the episode, Mo comes back with some confidence. She actually takes out those walkers or whatever. First of all, the actress who plays Mo, just amazing. Perfect actress, honestly. Like, she's really incredible. I think she could really honestly lead this show on her own. Like, she was super awesome in this. So overall, I thought this episode really set everything up perfectly. Like, it kind of set up where everyone's at. And the story is so much more exciting than where it was in the season 7 finale. Because in season 7, it was just sort of, we're going to Padre and I don't know what this is about. Our characters are just sort of everywhere. It really became just, I don't know, the Tower storyline was so boring. It was so dead, and no character had like really anything going on. It was just, honestly, it was just so boring. I dreaded watching every single episode. It was just horrific, like really bad. But season 8 was so refreshing. This first episode was really great. Based off of early reviews, the next 2 are going to be really great as well. And I'm excited. I can't wait to see where they're going to be going here. So yeah, overall, I thought this was a really good episode. Definitely post your thoughts down below. What did you think of this episode? Hope you guys all enjoyed the video, and I'll see you guys in the next one.